Hey, so in this video, I'm going to show you 10 different side hustles that you can get started with in 2019 to make some extra cash. And this isn't going to be that typical video that you see people talking about swag bucks and online surveys and babysitting for extra money. Those are all very common strategies for making extra money and doing those side hustles. But I think you're going to find some value in this video. You're not going to hear of some of these ever anywhere else because I probably only myself was doing some of these when I was younger, but they were great ways to make an extra $100 a day or more in some cases for some of these different strategies. So if you're new here to the channel, make sure you drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. We help people make more money, save more money, and build a better financial future for themselves. And we're not selling online courses here. This is totally free information. So let's just get into it. Now, the first one is something that I was doing when I was younger, 15 and 16, and that is by painting homes. This is especially great in the summer months or the warmer months, but I found that a lot of people don't want to get up on a ladder, even if it's a small ladder painting the interior of their home. They want to paint a room, their bedroom, and if they're getting older, 45, 50, 60, maybe 45 is not that old, but either way, a lot of people don't want to get up on ladders or stand up on their roof and paint their home, so they're willing to pay people to do it. You can take advantage of that, do this on the weekends, do this as a side hustle. I was getting a lot of people through my church who I would paint their homes for them, the inside of their homes, and make a decent amount of money. The way to do this, you just charge upfront for the cost of the paint and then charge them an hourly rate on top of that. So I was charging $20 an hour for myself to do this. You can set your own rate. I would not shortchange yourself. Make sure you set it at a decent rate. A lot of people are willing to pay for this service. The next one is for people who maybe don't want to get so hands-on. They want to do something from their home, and you could consider helping people creating resumes. Now, this is especially profitable in college campuses. On college campuses, you can post your advertisements to those college bulletins that you see outside of classrooms and outside of common areas. But if you think about the investment behind this, a lot of people are willing to pay $50 or $100 or more for somebody to help them create a resume. Now, there's a lot of terrible resumes out there. So imagine if you could pay somebody $50 and they could critique your resume, help you build your resume, and that resume can then land you an $80,000 a year job. It can be a great investment for a lot of college kids. And plus, a lot of college kids, they'll just get their parents to pay for it because I guess that's what happens. So you can make a decent amount of money from this by helping people create those resumes, critiquing those resumes. You can advertise it to those college campuses or on Craigslist. I see some advertisements for that on Craigslist, or even through something like Upwork or Fiverr. But it's a great way to make some money by just working on your computer. So the next one is something that the concept behind it, I want you to remember this concept. It's pretty basic, but if you can apply this to your everyday life and use this every day when you're buying different products, you're going to find that it can actually make you a lot of money. And that's by simply buying bulk, buying wholesale, and then selling retail. Now, let me give you a great example of this. When I was in probably 6th or 7th grade, I was a very strange kid, but I would buy 100 pounds of these world foreign coins, and then I would split them up into 1 or 2 pound packages and sell them on eBay and make a profit on them. And I was making at least $4 or $5 profit per package that I was selling, that I was basically just buying something bulk and then splitting it up and selling it retail, right? This is what Walmart does. This is what the grocery store does. They'll buy things on pallets and then split them up and sell them individual for larger amounts of money. So when you add up those, it adds up to a lot more and you get a nice profit on it. So think about what you're buying in your life. Maybe you bought something on Amazon today. Maybe you bought something on eBay today, right? Think about how much that costs, and then run the numbers and see how much would it cost you to buy 100 of those? How much would it cost you to buy 1,000 of those? And how much money could you make if you were selling those? Sometimes you'll run these numbers and find that maybe it's not that profitable, but other times you'll find that you can make a lot of money, maybe 40, 50% margins, profit margins on some of these products that you can sell on eBay or Amazon. And I love selling on eBay or Amazon because what's great about them is that they already are a search engine in themselves. So if you have a product and you want to sell it and you create your own website, you're going to have to get people to come to your website. It's hard to do that, especially ranking on Google is very difficult to do that, to get people to come to your website. But if you post a product to eBay, people can just search within eBay and it'll get found, and you don't have to market that product nearly as much as you would have to do otherwise with something like Shopify dropshipping. Can be a lot more difficult if you have your own website. You have to drive traffic to it and run ads for it. But that's one that I did when I was younger, and it worked out quite well for myself. All right, so number 7 is to take advantage of tourism. Now, when I say take advantage, I'm not saying exploit people, like selling them a bottle of water for $8 like they did at Woodstock 99. We're talking about finding large groups of people and then seeing what it is that they want. So let me give you some examples of this. Last week, I was at a Penn State spring football game, right? And there's about 40, 50,000 people plus tailgating outside of the stadium. And there's this kid, probably 10, 11 years old, with candy bars, selling for $2 per candy bar with a massive jug of money, like at least a few $100s, and he's just raking in the cash from all these people. I bought like 3 or 4 candy bars. But he was seeing that, look, a lot of people are hungry. He can make a lot of money off of this. Now, the legalities of this, you want to be careful. You don't want to do something that you're not allowed to do. If you're not allowed to sell something in that particular area, you probably shouldn't. But you want to find large crowds of people and see what they want. If it's really hot out and people are on the beach and they want some ice cream, it just works out perfectly if you're selling ice cream. So find what people want. If it's super cold out and you're selling really warm hats, you can make a lot of money off of that. Supply and demand, large crowds of people. But like I said, make sure that you're allowed to do it in your municipality or your city. You don't want to be doing something that's not allowed. So be careful on that. Make sure you're doing only legal things. Now, another one that I want to bring to your attention here is something that you could do while laying in bed, right, or lying in bed. And it can be a little bit more difficult to build up over time, but once you build this up, I know people who are making $5,000, $10,000 or more per month by doing this, and that's by running your own Instagram niche pages, right? So I'll give you some examples here. Ryan Scribner has a page that's at least over 250,000 followers now. It's called Investing Simple. And he makes, I don't know the exact numbers on it, and I probably shouldn't tell you the exact numbers anyway if I did, but he's making at least a couple $1,000s per month from this Instagram page by selling products to people. I know some other people who have pages that they started back in September that have over 50, 60, 70,000 followers on Instagram. And what's great about this is that really having influence can almost directly correlate with making money. It really can, because if you have a lot of eyes on something like your Instagram page, you can find ways to sell them different products. You can find ways to make money through affiliate marketing. I don't really sell products on this channel. I don't have any online courses that I sell, but you know, building an audience can really help make money in the future. Maybe that's farther down the road, but it's something that takes patience. But if you can really be patient about it and build that following up over a long time, you can find yourself making some nice cash on the side as a side hustle. You could be taking a dump and posting on Instagram for your Instagram page and doing quite well. Now, the next one, it's not online surveys, but it is taking part in research studies, especially through something like your local university. Now, I used to do this in college, my freshman year of college, take part in some of these studies, and sometimes you'll find yourself doing some very strange things like drinking cranberry juice for 3 weeks while they take your blood pressure or something weird like that. Not that I did that one. I did, but I would also get paid $5 to eat burgers, and I would basically get a free lunch and get $5 from the food science department at Penn State. So if you can find your local university, great one to look for. You don't want to be careful on how much of a lab rat you become. You don't want to be like taking all these weird pills that they might be paying you to take. Be careful on that. Make sure you can draw the line in the sand. I wasn't taking weird pills, but some people do some of those more clinical research studies that you can get paid thousands of dollars for, but you might end up with some serious side effects. So be careful with that. Only do the ones that you're comfortable with doing. But like I said, universities are a great way to do this. Look at your local university's website. Somewhere there should be a tab somewhere if they're a research university that will have these opportunities, and some of them you can get paid a few $100s, even a few $1,000s to take part in some of these research studies. So not online surveys. Online surveys, you're going to make like 42 cents a day. Don't waste your time with that. So this next one is not so much of a side hustle, but more so of a job, but I still find it to be important to put on this list, and that is by becoming a bartender. Now, especially if you're good looking, if you're attractive, just become a bartender. You're going to make a lot of money by doing this. I have friends who will do this over the summer between years in college at the beach, Jersey Shore, and make a lot of money, a couple $100s per night on the really peak nights by bartending. It's not something you can just walk into. You're going to have to build up and kind of work your way up to become a bartender. But once you do that, you can make a nice amount of money by doing something that maybe the hours aren't perfect, but it could be part-time. I know people who do it part-time, or it could be a full-time job as well. I don't want to downplay play it. It's not really easy, but once you get into it, you can build up that skill and make money off of it. Okay, now the next one is by creating healthy dog treats or treats for different types of pets. People spend a lot of money on their animals, especially maybe if they don't have kids, and maybe their dogs are their kids in a lot of ways that they kind of think of it. So they end up spending a lot of money on them. They have like pet insurance, and they're willing to buy like organic food, gluten-free food for their pets and whatnot, and spending thousands of dollars on their pet, which for good reason. You know, dogs are man's best friend, right? So people pay a lot of money for it, and there's a way to tap into this market by selling specific dog treats to people, and you can make a pretty decent amount of money from this, selling these expensive treats to people. Just look into this. There's some different blog posts on this, on some people who started these different companies tapping into the pet industry and the dog industry, especially for people who are willing to pay a lot of money for their pets. But you could bake dog treats literally in your kitchen and then sell them to your local pet stores, and then maybe start selling them online, maybe build an Instagram page, maybe start to market them online and build your brand that way. And I think it's just a great opportunity that I wanted to throw out there. The pet industry as a whole, look into it and think about some ways you can make money off of it. So the next one is one that you've, I'm sure, never heard of before. I was quite strange when I was younger, and in my middle school years of like 7th grade or whatnot, I started to sell mealworms. And the reason why I'm putting this on this list is not telling you to go out and start like breeding worms and selling them, because it was quite strange. But the idea here goes back to what I mentioned earlier, which is if you can find something that people are paying money for that's not really an industry that's very well tapped into, because maybe it's just strange, like selling mealworms to people who have like pet lizards and like iguanas and whatnot that eat those types of worms, but I would have thousands of them, and I would kind of like take out a scooper, pick up a bunch of worms, put them in a box, and ship them out. That I was selling them on eBay and a couple of other websites. And like I said, it was quite strange, but sometimes you need to think about those ones that nobody else thinks about. Like I know somebody who has a mushroom farm in his basement, and he's selling them to tons of local restaurants, but you would never think about that because you don't see that on these blog posts and these different lists of side hustles and ways to make money. You don't see those types of things like selling worms or having a mushroom farm in your basement. You don't see those. And so if you can think outside of the box and find an industry that not many people are in, those are the ones you can make a nice amount of money as a side hustle from. If you're going with the basics and going with the ones that everybody's trying to do, it could be a little bit more flooded, a little bit more difficult to start making money in those specific areas. And the last one is for a lot of younger, maybe teenagers out there, but it's becoming a golf caddy. Now, what's great about this is that you can make $40, $50 per bag, carry 2 bags, and walk away with well over $100 after a day of spending it out on the golf course with golfers, networking, and making money in the meantime. Great for the summer. I know summer's coming up. Really excited for it. Warm weather, especially in the Northeast. So cold all winter long. So finally, it's going to be warm. Golf caddying, look into it. I think it's a great option for a lot of younger people, a lot of teenagers. I get some DMs on Instagram. If you're not following me on Instagram, follow me on Instagram right there or something, or a link down below. I don't know. But a lot of people are DMing me asking, like, how can I make money? I'm 15. I'm looking for some ways to make money. Think about becoming a golf caddy. Go to your local golf course, your local country club, especially if you can find big tippers. Sometimes they're not always big tippers, but in some cases they are. And you can make, like I said, $40, $50 per bag, depending on where you live, or maybe even more by helping people carry bags as a golf caddy. So if you found value in this video, make sure you drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed yet and you're at the end of this video. I don't know why, but thank you for watching this video, and I'll see everybody next time. See ya.